Please be seated. I gave this title to today's meditation, Childhood Memories. We tend to think of Jesus' childhood as something of a nice prelude to his adult work. We relegate it to an almost sweet phase of his life, perhaps because of the sentiments which we attach to Christmas. The finish of Advent, and this is the very finish of it, and Christmas in particular, however, wants to get the balance right. The birth and the childhood of Jesus are far more significant than we think. On the fourth Sunday of Advent, when we read the story of the Annunciation, we are invited to contemplate an important question. What does God want to communicate through this divine childhood? Why this prelude is so important for him? I found a useful and thought-provoking analogy, an idea in Julia Kristeva and Philip Solar's new book, which is called Marriage as Fine Art. In it they speak of their marriage, but most of all their experiences through their professions. Julia Kristeva says, and this is what really made me think, when two adults fell in love and when they meet, they recover their childhood. Love opens them up to each other. And it is so interesting to recall, perhaps from our own memories, that during the time of courtship, we start with our youth, with our childhood. All of us can recall that indeed, strangely, this happens. We share our childhood stories. We reflect on the positive events of this formative time. We don't simply reflect on our past, but revisit those years and the events since our childhood. Couples share how they became the persons who they are. These memories of formation and bonding, with all the positive experiences, are retrieved, revealed, and intensely renewed. Perhaps that it is one of the most beautiful experiences, to be in love with someone, or to play, cherish a dream as a child. This sharing and openness bond the lovers and form the ground for their later life covenant. So why not contemplate the scene of the Annunciation in this light? For some reason, Jesus wants to share this formative event of his life with us. By telling the story of his conception, owing to the yes of his mother, he wants to share with us how wonderful it was to be embraced by the Father's love and become incarnate in human flesh. He wants to tell us how joyful it was for him as the second divine person, the Son, to undertake the journey to save us. He tells of this positive experience, however unconscious it was at the time of the Annunciation when the angel visited her mother. He shares this story of birth and his real childhood. Jesus wants to share how fully he could rely on his mother's love and care and on his father's providence. Through this story, however much invisible it was for the public, actually it was totally hidden, we are invited to a similar exercise. I myself tried it out in this morning by having breakfast. In the upcoming 3 days leading up to Christmas Eve, why don't we share our own childhood memories with God and perhaps with each other in the family? Why don't you share and recall the positive formative events of your life with God? In a quiet prayer or in an intimate conversation with your husband, wife, daughter, grandchildren, just tell how it felt to be a child, what was joyful in it, how your story began. Just as we opened up in love to the beloved one, let us be interested in the life of our ultimate partner and friend, Jesus Christ himself. If he shares his story with us, if we share ours with him, what a covenant